goal here is to like talk about developing website. But before getting into the detail, since in the early stage you have like much more attention and the later part you might be sleeping, so I will introduce myself in a little bit visual way. You definitely got a little bit introduction about me, but if I'm not doing what I am doing most of the time, organizing sessions, talking about JavaScript and all this stuff. And other than this, before actually COVID time, I used to jump from the sky because there was nothing better than this. And then also was doing some running because this is a very good way to stay away from home. And then if I'm not doing all this stuff, I used to like to have a 10,000 volt shock. And this is really shocking. So if you need like more shock in your life, let's have some 10,000 volt shock. Definitely I like to share whatever the limited knowledge I have. And this was all good before 2020. And once this 2020 started, things take a little bit turn. So I get inside my closet, pretty much similar setup, and spend pretty much day and night over there and focused on the mobile app. And it's grew a little bit. We are close to 1 million users for this. And 2020 also put some focus on my YouTube channel. And feel free to check out those. And this is pretty much what I do. So welcome back, everyone. This is a very exciting day for you, especially you are getting into a new way of thinking web development, much more professional, much more practical, and much more efficient way. And that efficient way is the most popular JavaScript framework right now in this world, and that is called React. And React, though, started with Facebook, but it is the most popular JavaScript framework, and highest number of JavaScript related jobs belongs to React. That means people all over the place, developers all around the world is developing their application using React. And another excellent part about React is that not only you can develop a mobile application, you can develop a virtual reality type application, and also you can develop mobile app. And the good part of the mobile app that you can build that not only for Android, but also iOS with same code base. And React has a lot of cool stuff, and we'll definitely exploring today some fundamental part of React. That means we would be exploring how React works, how you can start a brand new project using React, and then 4 fundamental part of any front-end web application. That means something called component, something called like a props, something called a state, and how you can load dynamic data and display in the React. And based on that, actually, we will build a larger, more practical application. So today we'll be exploring the fundamentals, and those fundamentals is mandatory for like any web developer these days. And it doesn't have to be a React developer. Anybody developing Angular, anybody developing Vue.js or anything else actually need to know this fundamental concept. So React popularized this concept and everybody else adopted it. That's what is the cool part. And to start with React, all you need to do is to search something called create React app. And once you search for that, you will see like their website, how you can start it, and also you can go to this GitHub repository. Either one will give you some information, and this is, you see like a very, very popular GitHub repo. And if you scroll a little bit, all you need to do is to run 3 commands and do one extra thing. And that's pretty much it to have your React application running. And we will start this. And to start with it, you need to know a little bit about the command line. And if you are using a Windows computer, then you can type CMD, and then it will open something like this. And here it has some default location, which is like users / the username of the computer. This is the default location it opens. And if you go to like any folder, say for example, in my computer, let's open this directory, and then I have say like a practice folder. And where is this practice folder? This is inside my C drive. the projects folder, and this practice. And I was doing all this practice just before coming in front of you guys, just to prove that I did something. And you never know that what's inside. Maybe they are empty folder. You never know, but at least I created this folder. Let's see that how we can go there. So our current location is C users junker, and our target is here. That means it's inside C, but in a different branch. If you think about you are here, you need to go up one step, two step, and then go inside. And you can do it very easily. CD and then dot dot. If you do double dot, it will go one level up. So previously it was this location, now it changes. And if we do the same thing again, CD space dot dot, it will go to the C. Now we can go inside. So dot dot takes you one step upward. And if you go downward, all you need to do is to write the name of the directory or the folder you want to go. So first, CD stands for change directory. That means I'm changing the directory, current directory in the C drive. I want to go to the projects. So I type the projects. And you don't have to type the whole thing. You can type part of the word and then press tab. So projects. So I'm already projects halfway there. And if we go to like a practice and press tab, I go there. Doesn't matter. You could have done it here if that is the directory you want, but I have showed you just how simply you can change the directory if needed to. And now we go to this place where they are telling us to, hey, run this command. So you just copy it, select this one, Control C, and then you paste here. So if you paste this, I will explain while this is running, and it will take a few minutes to do something in your computer, and I will explain what it does. And you will see like an npx create react app. So create react app is like a very easier way. In the meantime, definitely this guy is doing some work. So let this guy do his or her stuff, and you'll see that we are creating something, and this is the name of the application. If you want a different name, you can put here my app, something like my test app, my conceptual app, or some other name. If you want to, you can definitely give the name. Just change this one, and while giving the name, don't put it like a space, just put a dash. So create React app gives you a nice way to start React application. While building a React application, you will need a lot of things, but you don't need to worry about all those because they put everything inside this. And npm is npx is like a little bit extension of npm. Npm is nothing but node package builder. This package is like, if you think about like any kind of any kind of thing you needed. For example, you ordered something online and they're giving you a package, and sometimes the package has the product, maybe another box, maybe they have another coupon, maybe they have some extra materials to protect your package or your goods inside it. So everything needed to make sure that whatever the goods you have ordered reached nicely towards you. So npm is also similar, that you want to do something with coding, and whatever is needed, they put it there. You can just call it by npm or npx if you need to install something, and then you call the command, and pretty much it will do some stuff for you. So this continuously going, and we will tell like why React is so popular. The reason is React is so popular. It's first popularized the concept that how you can implement the things changes in your website. If you think about any website, there is like a fundamental part there. If you go to the one of the website called MERN, you might have heard it, and you see like a lot of pieces here. And if you add something, so if you go to like any product, say you want to buy a cell phone or mobile phone or laptop or anything, and you search for it, and if you add this item to your cart, what it will do, you will see like this shopping cart, this will increase. That means based on whatever you're doing, the state, the position or the number count here changes. And if you add like multiple, those would be added right here. And if you don't add, then it would be stays there. So that's one makes much more easier to work with. So here, once this guy is done, and you will see like this is blinking again like this way, and it tells you what need to do. So there, even if you go to this website, they're telling you the same thing. So you need to cd, change the directory to my app, and then do something else. So yeah, saying the same thing. So if you give different name for your project, it will say cd that directory. So in our case, we did my-app, and we go there. You see the directory previously was practice. Now go to the my app. And the next thing we need to do is to run this command. But before running this command, I would like to do one extra thing so that this project is opened in Visual Studio Code. So that's why I will type code. There is a space and then dot and the press enter. What it will do, it will open my Visual Studio Code with this project. And you'd be able to see that project's name is right somewhere in this area. And now we go back to the last command, that is like npm start. This npm start is an interesting thing. What it does, it's start your application, and if you change something, it automatically updates the changes. And we'll see that's fun part, and that is called hot reload. That means if you change on the website before React, all we need to do every time we change something, we come to the website and reload it again and again. And with this create React app, you don't need to do at all. So we came to this directory, and the last thing is npm start. And if you hit the start, you will see that things will go and changes something and open some application or something running right here for you. And this is actually running a React application and without pretty much coding anything. So they have put a lot of things for you, and we will explore what they put here, and then we will start doing those stuff. If you look into this, in the first directory, you will see like a node underscore modules. Pretty much 99.99% of the times, you will never touch what's inside there. This is kind of like a don't go there zone, that if you go there, some kind of somebody will mess up your code or something like this. So 99.99% of the times you will not do this. If you explore, you will see a lot of folders, a lot of code. Those are some kind of like a pieces needed for some other packages, something. And this is another public area. So really you would need to change it. Like for your application, remember previously we were creating a lot of index.html. They created one just for you and puts this body tag, the div tag, and HTML body tag, the HTML tag, all this stuff. And this is the logo that you are seeing there, and there is like few other for like robots if you are scrapping, and then manifest if you want to use it like in mobile devices. So this is the place you rarely change, but sometimes if needed, you will add some bootstrap link in the index.html file. And the work you will, and this git ignore is the default one. This is some dependency. We'll be looking into those in our next workshop. README MD is like a default one that tells you about your projects, but all of the tasks will be going in this src folder. And that's what exactly they're telling here is that edit src/app.js and save to reload. So if you need to change or edit something, you can change it a src, which is small form of the source, and then app.js. So here src and inside app.js. And if you double click on it, you'll see some code here. And right now I will close these guys so that I have some code. You'll see this has just importing a logo, import something, a CSS file, you have some style, and it has a function which you knew before, and the function is returning some kinds of HTML. And this looks a little bit odd. Previously, we were writing HTML inside .html file. And here it's a little bit different. But before exploring this, they said us that if you change something, it will be coming here. So you see here it has like edit src/app.js and save. So edit, let's say like edit done. And if you save it, right now it's not saved, and you see this unsaved indication here. If you press Ctrl S, come to the website, you see edit done. Maybe by me in React, something like this. Save this guy, and it comes right here. So if you want to see it more easier way, if you can put it the side by side, said, okay, I want to see it real time. Maybe get rid of React by developer, something like this. Save this guy, and you see this developer comes here. And what you are doing here is called like JSX. JSX is nothing but you are writing HTML inside your JavaScript file, and there are a lot of good reason for doing it. So let's take out pretty much everything they have inside the main div, and then look what is this function is. This function is nothing but a function that returns inside the parenthesis some kind of HTML. And if you save this guy, it has nothing. That's why your website has nothing. If you add an h1 tag, this is my website, save it, and this coming here. So this is, think about like some HTML you are writing here. Now the question you might have that, okay, why the heck you are doing this? Why the heck like you are writing HTML inside a JavaScript? The reason is that you give a lot of power. JavaScript has a lot of dynamic power, and HTML is kind of like a boring, doesn't have any power. So if you want to create dynamic HTML, you need to do kind of like a document, then get element by ID, and then inner text, and do a lot of extra works. And doing those actually makes the application slower. And that's called like, and if you're touching that DOM that we explored a few workshops earlier, that is a little bit slow, and then changing again and again makes the application really slow. So the good part here is that you could have like any variable here, so constant name, and this name is maybe some kind of like you have some kind of row, and here you can easily write some dynamic way. So for example, you're writing h3, and my name is, and then you can put 2-second bracket, and then here you can write any valid JavaScript expression. Say you have a variable here, you can just write the variable, kind of like a dynamic way. You save it, and you see the my name is, and that becomes a variable. And by again something like this, if you change it, it comes here, right? And not only that, you can write any kind of like a valid JavaScript. For example, 2 plus 89.7, something like this, and this should be edited together, and you will see this result. And it could be like something like this. And if you have like two variable, you add this to variable, or if you have that name, for example, you have the name variable and you want to convert it to an uppercase, this is valid JavaScript, to uppercase or to lowercase, something like this. And if you do that, and this name part becomes uppercase. So the powerful part is that you can do a lot of cool stuff. Not only thing here, say if you have like a person, like this is an object, right? And in this object, it could has like a name. It could be some kind of single person, and then job is trying to mingle, and then maybe age is 17, and then food favorite is like this type of food, like a burger, those kind of things. So right now you have a object. So previously you have a variable, we are accessing it, and you can access the same stuff just by using JavaScript. So for example, here we create another tag like h4, and here we are kind of like job of a person, and then you want to access something from this object. So if this is dynamic, put second bracket, and inside it, what do you want to access? You want to access the person, and what inside the person? Maybe the job. Save it, you'll see trying to mingle. And if you want to get like age, for example, just type the age, and it puts the age. And it is much more powerful. Like you can create like a multiple interesting stuff by using this. So far what we have done is like we saw like how JSX works. And if you want to add some style, definitely you can add like CSS class. So for example, here you have a like an app.css here, and it has like say different classes, and one of the classes like an app class, right? And here what you done, you add like a class name. This is the name of the class. You can write a style here right away. So you can write the style, and there is like two different way you can write a style. One style is like here, say for example, constant border style or something like this. Border style is here, and for this border style, you can write any CSS, valid CSS, but in terms of JavaScript. So for example, color. you put like a red like this in CSS. Here, since this is a string, you will put like a quote, and you have something like this. So if you do this border style here like border style and save this, you'll see this style changes. And if you want to like put multiple other things, you can definitely put, and we will see this a little later. So here we get rid of this part and have a look into this guy. What this is actually, this is a function. Function has a name. Some reason this name is uppercase, we'll explain little later, and it returns some kind of JavaScript. And one interesting things you might need to do, if I write here say paragraph like P or div with some class, it works. If you tab it, it works with image, but by default it will not work. You will need to do a little bit changes here. And all you need to do is to go to the file and the preferences. In the settings, you will need to go to extensions and then image, and here you will see include language. And I already added it like JavaScript React. In your case, it would be kind of like an empty. So all you need to do is add an item and give the name exactly JavaScript, and the value would be JavaScript React. And you have to do this, and after that your image will work. And if the image doesn't work, don't worry, just type it as it is. That's it. So here what we have done, we have like a default function, and this function has actually a special name. If we go back to our website here, this is Amazon, what you will see in the Amazon website is that you have like boxes. But if you look a little bit inside, like this box is similar in look, different in data. What do I mean by this? It's like similar in the shape, similar in the style, like it has a title, it has a title, it has an image, it has an image, it has a link, it has a link too. This both pretty much same but different data. So similar in look, different data. If you scroll down, look into the same things, like this has like a 4 pieces, but similar in look, different in data. And you will see pretty much everywhere, like all these boxes, like the similar in look, different data. If you search for like Adobe pricing, for example, and you see like in a lot of places, what is the Adobe pricing? Maybe there's plans. Okay, you see here, this is exactly similar in look, different data. This has different icons, this is different title, this is different price, this is different text, but they have the same style, same border, same type of text, same type of title, right? So whenever you have similar in look, different in data, like it's different of the things inside it, you don't need to create different HTML. Previously you had to do, but React made it much easier just for you, only for you, for no one else. And we'll look into that. And all these pieces is called a component. And to create all this component, you just need to write one single HTML component. That's it. And then you feed different data. We'll explore it in a few minutes, and you can use it right away. So we will just mimic it in like this way. Here we will create a function like they did, and our function would be person. For some reason, we are giving an uppercase. I will explain a little bit later. And then with the second bracket. Inside the return, what they have, I put like this bracket. And usually, you can write just one single paragraph like this way. And then you finish this paragraph. And this is a person. You can do this way. And if you need to write multiple HTML tag, we'll explain this a little later. So what you did, you create a simple function, and this simple function returns some kind of HTML. And to use it, all you need to do here, so maybe let's get rid of like these guys. Here, you will call this function. Just write the name, person, and then as if you are calling an HTML. So far, you have used all the HTML text provided by like HTML guys or HTML gurus, whoever they are. Maybe Lee or somebody names Lee or something like that. But here you can create any name you want. So if you don't want person, you can like a person, maybe 68 for some reason. 68, you can give it like a 68, and you can give this 68. So this is your tag. You save this guy, you come here, and you see this is a person right here. So you are able to create your own HTML tag. And not only one, if you want more, I can definitely write it again and again, or you can use keyboard shortcut Alt-Shift down arrow. Alt-Shift down arrow, Alt-Shift down arrow. If you copy another one, you'll see this is just like an HTML tag. And you can use not only one, you can have like a multiple tag, but this will cause some problem. So for example, we have like an S1, my name is, we'll put like this some name here slash H1, and then you put like maybe another H3 and slash H3. And if you do this, this causes some trouble. You see like some red squiggly line, expression must have one parent element. So one parent element means like here you see like you have a div and everything inside a div. So you can do exactly the same way. You can do like the div and you can put like a slash div. Now they have like one single parent. These are the siblings in the same level and they are inside a parent. If you don't want a div, you don't want to put any style, you can create an empty tag. That works too. But by default, a lot of people just create a div and it makes it easier to apply some style. So you see, you change it and this actually changes multiple ways. And here you can add definitely this style, the border style if you want, you can do. So here we will add any style and you will do like a style tag, and that would be your border style or something like this. If you do this, it color changes and you have like, say, maybe we'll add some border. So border, and you will just put as a like a string, say 2 pixel solid, maybe purple or anything like this. You see, they have this solid purple. If you want to add some gap between, you'll add like margin. Maybe you add margin like maybe 9 pixel or 10 pixel, make it 10 pixel. You said this guy, they have this one. If you do like a border radius, so usually what we write like a border dash radius in CSS. But here, since you dash, you cannot put in a name in JavaScript. So you, instead of dash, you will make the R uppercases. That's it. And you can make like a border radius 10 pixel. You do this, you see the border radius 10 pixel is gone. And here, if you have like, okay, my job is something, you have like another line. So these are repeating. And right now they have like a similar in look, but not exactly different in data. We can make this better, of course, very easily. And that's where we will need a special concept called props. Props is nothing but, say, if you write an image, right? Image type, what do? You put like src. This is kind of like an attribute or property. In a general, think about they are property. And a short form of the word properties, this is a big word and it's very harder for me to pronounce. So they make it smaller, called props. Okay. And same thing if you write an anchor tag, right? You put like this one. Not every element needs it, but if needed, you can pass it. So right now our person 68 doesn't have any props. But if you want, you can do that. So for example, you can say like a name is equals to, this is our Sallu, something like this name. And Sallu's job is forgetting who was his friend. That's what his job is. That's it. So right now you are passing two property, right? One is Sallu, another is his job. He forgets stuff. And when you are giving this actually come to this piece function, and this function is called a component, and you can access it like here. So you type here, like since you want to access the properties, so you will type like props, that I want to access the props. So from the props, you can actually access the name and the job. And let's have a look. So for this one, you will get like props.name. And if I do so, you'll see the first one got Sallu. Second one, I didn't give any name. That's why it's empty. If you want, you can definitely give a name is equals to maybe something like this, and Amit. And once you put this actually gets it. So right now you see similar in look, different data. This guy is Sallu, this is Amir. This is the core part of that what we wanted to explore. That component, you write one HTML component, but you're creating two. If you want, you can actually more. Then, for example, I just do this, and instead of Amir, maybe I will do like a Sanju, something like this. I just have another one. And if I want another one, I just create another one. Maybe this one could be Ranveer, something like this, and it's just create another one. So we achieved similar in look, different in data. And if you want like a job, you can definitely job. It's kind of like change. This guy likes to change, and it doesn't appear here. Why? Or the forget doesn't appear is here. The reason we are not accessing it. We access the props.name. Now we need to access props dot the name of the property. Here is the job. So the first two guy has jobs, and you'll see they have the job, but this Sanju and Ranveer doesn't have a job. So maybe we'll give Sanju some job. Maybe it's kind of like intake something. I don't know what he intakes. He might know, but he intakes stuff is there. And Ranveer, maybe he likes chocolate or something like this. Okay, whatever the pronunciation, or it's okay. We got this. So far we are able to pass data to a component and create a lot of them, but different in data, similar in look. And not only you don't have to like directly type here as like a separate property. If needed, you can pass a whole object to a component. So here, for example, we have a list of data. Right now, we are getting those data. Think of like a right hard-coded here, but eventually we'll load those from some APIs, like we did last time, loading from APIs. So here we have like maybe actors, a list of actors, and what we want to do is this. We'll get a bunch of them. So every one of them. So this would be like an array, since we're putting a lot of actors, and every one is an object, and each of them has a name. So this one maybe we'll put like a Sallu, and since this is a string, we'll put like a Sallu, and then he has a job, and his job is he forget his stuff and forget who was his friend or something like this. And we want to make a multiple copy of this. So I will do Alt Shift and down arrow. So I need 4. And then I put like maybe like this is Amir, and he changes, and this is Sanju, and he intakes, something like this. And then this is Ranveer, and that he eat chocolate, something like this. So now you see I have all these actors, and this previously was passing the name hard-coded. Now I want to pass from this array, and to do so, maybe usually I will give a name of this. Previously it was the name and job. If I want, I can actually do it, but like this way. Say here, instead of hard-coded, I will put like a dynamic value. So this is the second bracket, the way you put like dynamic value. And if you put like a dynamic second bracket, you can access anything valid JavaScript. And that's why you can do like an actors, and this is an array. The first one is 0, and then dot name. And if you do, and maybe we'll make it like say 55, just to make sure that this is a different value. And if that works, this would be 55. So I set this guy, and you'll see this changes. So you can do this way, but you need to do pass the same way the job, right? And you have to type, if you have like a 10 properties of this object, you need to write 10 different props while calling this component. And instead of this, you can right away just pass. One object. So this could be like, say, this is your actor, and the value of the actor is actors, and the first one. And similar way, you can do all this stuff. So let's do this to here, and then we do here, and then we do here. So we get rid of like all these values. Now I do like alter click, so that I have like a cursor. So I press the alter and then click 3 places, and then I do actor. So this is how I can type multi-line at the same time, and is equals to, this is dynamic, and then actors maybe 1. So, and I don't want to pass 1 everywhere. So I click outside, and the multi-cursor is gone, and this is 2, and this is 3. So right now I'm passing a props name actor, and it has different values. The first one goes 0 is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third element, and so on. And here in the prompts, we can access all the actor. If you want to see it, so get rid of like what this would be. So if you run this way, right now they don't have any values because you are not passing any more props called name. If you want, you can do like a props dot actor, and every actor is an object and they have name. You can do like actor dot name, and if you do so, you see those names came back this way. And you can do like a props dot actor dot job. If you do so, you'll get the jobs again. So this is the way you can pass. You can pass different objects and access those objects property. You just have to know that what you are passing and where is the value. Previously, you are just directly passing the name with a value, and that's why you are able to access props.name. Now we are passing a whole object, and inside the object, it has like name and job. So you will access it like name of the props, like props dot, what is the props you are parting? The actor. So you're accessing the actor, and then dot the property that you want to access, and which is the name or the job or whatever you are passing. So far, we have done in a nice way that you can do all this stuff this way. There is a clever way. So for example, if you have like maybe 10 of those, so we selected this and we create another copy. Just select those, Alt Shift down arrow, and maybe this is maybe 65, this is 8, and this is 9, and this is 10. So right now, if you want to add those, you have to manually add another 4. What if you have like 20? What if you have 100? You cannot know that if you're loading data, there would be like only 2 actor or 10 actor. How many actor would be coming back to this award show? Maybe everybody paid for getting their award. That's how the TV award show goes. They pay for the award and they get it. And you never know how many of them would show up. So you cannot like hard code like all this component to make it like much more efficient and effective. And there is a shortcut for that. So for this, we will get rid of all this stuff and we'll do some kind of JavaScript. And since you're doing the JavaScript inside this component, always you need to put inside 2-second bracket. And you can do it like when you are adding a props, or even just you're writing something like this way. And you can do it much more other ways as well. So what I will do is right now is I will call the actors, and then we'll do a map. Map is some kind of like a for looping in a little bit robust way. And the map you will do usually pass something. So here you will do like when you're mapping, we will go and find each of the element, and then you can do anything with those elements. So usually since it is an actors, you will give a name like an actor, which is the singular form of the name of your collection. Or collection is like actors. It could be like, say, for example, friends, then the name will be usually given as a friend, or users, and then name is like user. So plural is the connection and singular is the every element. And you do an arrow function like this, and then you can do simply console log the actor. And if you do so, and you can come here right now and inspect, you will see in your console, you have like all these objects, like it should have like an 8 of those, all these 8 that you have created. So you can do the console log here, and you are showing like only 1 because you have this person 1. So here you can do the fun part. And since you are interested to create a component, so I close this guy. Instead of this console log, so instead of console log, you can actually put this component. And you can write it or you can copy it, doesn't matter. So you can write it like a person 68, and then if you close it. So this is the way you are actually creating all the component for every item of the actor. Right now we are not using it, but you can actually do it this way. And if you do so, this will give you some hard time. We will solve it this way. What is saying that, hey, I cannot read property name of undefined because you didn't pass any props. This is expecting some kind of props. You can solve it in multiple ways. One easier way is to like put a question mark there. Maybe you can put a question marks here, and you can put a question mark there, and this becomes like an optional. But this, you see, this actually, you see, this is created, there's some dynamic yet, but at least created 8 component. And the first one, you see the data because of this guy. You can get rid of this, or we will get rid of in a minute. But you see, for every actor, it actually created 1, but it doesn't get the data. So what we need to do is to pass these props. So since this component needs these props to render it here, all you can do here is actor, and the value of the actor in this case, because this is looping through the actors, and for every items it creates as a single actor, so that's why you will pass the actor here too. And if you do so, you'll see everybody is dynamic right now. So now you can happily get rid of this guy. So this is the way. It doesn't matter whether you have right now you have 8, if you have like maybe 3. So let's say you have like a 3. It doesn't matter if you save it, you will only have 3. If you make 8, maybe you will create another alter shape, another number of stubs. You see, another number of stubs is created. So that's how you are not bounded to create 1 or 2. Rather, you can create as many components as your data have. That means you are much more powerful, much more energetic, and much more dynamic. So far, we do a little bit recap of the things we have done, and then we'll go for a much more fun things. So we just know how to create a component. That means it's nothing but a function. And inside this function, you can write any kind of HTML, and any part of this HTML could be dynamic. It could be like a 1 tag, 2 tag, 10 tag, doesn't matter. And if you want to create this nature, which is like similar in look, different in data, in that case, you will pass some props. And props could be hard-coded thing, it could be an object, and it could be a more powerful when you have a collection of things and you can map through every item on that list and then pass every single one to this component, and then it will take care of the best part of it just for you to have fun. So we have done this so far. Now we will do some dynamic way of calculating things. That means that core concept is called state. And state is kind of anything in your application that could change. For example, we looked into the Amazon shopping cart, right? If you add some product, it could change. If you don't add, then it will not change. State could be if you're logging into any applications. If you're logged in, then state is logged in. If you don't log in, then it false, true or false. And maybe like if you're loading some data here, if you load like 8 data, then your state is like 8 actors. If you don't load any data, your state is like a 0 or empty array. And if you, for example, in the Facebook, if you add a comment, that means the total number of comments increases. If you don't add a comment, then it remains this. So state is something dynamic that user interacts and it could change. And let's do that part. So here inside our app, we have this stuff. We can leave this here as it is. And here we can do some other stuff. For example, we can create another component, and we know it's very super easy. We give it a name, a function. If you want, you can create an arrow function as well. But in my case, I'm just keeping it simple. And this would be counter. That means I want to do some count. And if I accept some property, then I need to write props. If I don't accept, and then I don't need to write the props. Like this guy didn't, this guy didn't. We needed to accept some props. That's why we declared this parameter props. And from inside, you can return, and you can write this way that I want to div, and then this is another div. And inside this div, this is the parent tag, and you can write any kind of like, say, maybe h2. This is click count, right? And this is your click count, and it has a button, and button is like increase. That means if you click on this, it will increase some kind of count. So you created this component. Now you want to show it in the website. By default, everything inside your app component is displayed. So we didn't add our counter component here, and that's why we don't see in our website. So let's do it, our counter, and then we add this guy, we save it. Now you have this click count and increase. Increase doesn't do anything. And if you remember a long time back, when we are doing some kind of button HTML, you can add an on-click function, right? If you remember that way, you can do like pretty much similar way. So in just plain HTML, you will add like on-click function, and then you can give a name of the functions here, right? You can do those stuff. So in React, you will do just little bit change, will make the C uppercase. And since it will be dynamic function name, you can just give the function name right inside it. So this is the way you do this some kind of function. And here you can write this function inside your component. So it could be like a function handle increase. And what it will do, it might take any parameter if you write an arrow function, and then inside it, you will do some, if you do like a function, you need to write like a constant, okay? If you do like arrow function, you cannot do like function this way and the both way. And then here you can do like an handle increase. And if you just line one single line, you can write it here. If you write multiple lines, you can write multiple ways as well. But anyway, we do like a console log I am clicked. So let's save this guy, come here, do the inspect, and then we see like console, and you clear all this stuff. And if you click on this increase, you see I am clicked. You click, that means you are successfully able to add a event handler to a button using React. But this is not the fun part yet. Well, our target is to, whenever I click on this one, it will increase the count as if I'm adding a shopping cart, like I'm adding an item in my shopping cart, and that item would be added there. So for doing so, all we need to do is to have somebody to keep track of the count, because if you add one item in your shopping cart, the count will be 1. Second time you add another one, somebody has to know that previously you had 1, and now you're adding another one, that means total will be 2. And if you add like 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you add another one, that means like somebody has to know that you had 6 before, and since you're increasing 1, it has to be 7. So that's why your cart state, the current number or the situation is changing. And to do so, you have a very simple way. Just look into it in the constant right side. We will have something. We'll look into that little later on the left side, but right side you will use state, and then you will have something called auto import. And if you don't have it, you need to install one package, one extension here, and this is called React. This is called React code snippet, React package or something. Let's see what I have installed, so that would be easier. This is something called auto import, a bundle actually, auto import. So this is called like auto import already, something like this, but this is already I have been installed. That's why it doesn't show the installed one, but this is actually part of whatever the things I have installed. So I think React starter bundle, something like this. Let's see, where is my anyway, so if you go React starter bundle or React bundle, let's search for React bundle, and if you do this React bundle, you'll see like a React bundle somewhere. Or you can just if you just install auto import, that should be enough. Auto import. Okay, if you have this auto import installed, that's fine. This will, what it will do, it will go, and whenever you need something from there, it will suggest you auto import, and if you tab it, it will import it in your application. So here from the React DOM, we are only importing React DOM, nothing else, right? Here, if we use state and then press enter, once we have this auto import, or you can click on this and you will see here it's already use state from React, and you can give it some initial values as 0. Some initial values is that once you don't have any clicked there, it would be value would be 0. And on the left side, inside an array, you will need to write 2 things. One is the name of the state, because in your application, you might be keep track of like a lot of different things. It could be like how many items added on this cart, how many maybe products available there, maybe whether the user is logged in or not, maybe whether the user placed the order or not, whether user provided the shipping address or not, and so many different things. So in your application, you will have like a lot of different state that you would be keep tracking. But in our case, we will do like a count, and another one will be like a set count. So this is the variable and this is a function. So variable will give you the current value of the state. So for example, previously we talked that, okay, whenever you're adding one extra, or what do you need to do? You need to know what was the previous value. That means somebody has to keep track of all the things you added it earlier. And this is the variable. And if you are adding one, that means this is the function to change this variable. That's pretty much it. So if you do this here, here you can do like, once you are clicked, you can do the set count. You're calling the set count. This is the function, and you can pass the value, and the value would be whatever the value of the count plus 1. That's pretty much. So if you save it, right now you will not see it anywhere because we are not using the count or displaying the count anywhere. So here you can dynamically show this variable count. And if you do so, look into this, what we have done here. We have created an state and we given initial values. And that's why you see the initial value is 0. This is the count initial value. And when you use the use state, you will need to import this guy, and it gives you like a two. It gives you like a two things inside an array. One is the state that would be changing once you click or once you do something with it. Another is a function to update the state. That means a function to update or change the state. Another one, the state itself. So our state is the count. That means what we are looking into it, and it is 0. And set count is this one. And if I do, every time we are increasing the value by 1. So if this works, if I click on it, it should work and increase the value by 1. So previous value is 1, and I clicked right now, and it becomes 2. That means if I click again, it becomes 3. Click again, it becomes 4. That means React is keeping track of the previous value, the state, and if you change it, it increases. And exactly the same way, you can actually decrease as well. So I will copy this line. So I will do like Alt Shift down. This was this, keep it increase and make it like decrease. So decrease, you can definitely create another function if you want, like this way. So I will select these two line, and then I will make Alt Shift down arrow, and this would be maybe handle decrease, and instead of +1, this would be -1. And if I save it, it will work if I change this value, because with the increase, I will call the handle increase. With decrease, I need to call the decrease function. Otherwise, it will increase if I have the wrong function here. So right now, you see, once I save it, if I decrease, it decreases the values. If I increase, it increases. So you see, the easier way you can handle those stuff. And if you are comfortable with this way, this is the perfect way of like changing the state. And if you want to do it a fancier way, you can do it in a shortcut way. Other than creating the function, all you can do, this is since one line, you don't need to put the second bracket, or if you want, you can do the second bracket, doesn't matter. You can actually put it in one line here, and put it one line here, and you see this is the value of the handle decrease. What is the value? This is the value. And since this is the value, you can right away take it from here, and instead of decrease, you can just replace it here if you want, right? And in this case, you are not using this, you are just putting here. And if you're not comfortable, you can ignore this part, but your code will work the way it is. So I will just reset it, the previous condition. At least this becomes easier for us as a beginners. So here, let's look into a little bit, again, recap the state. State is something in your application that could change. In our case, here is the count that we are adding. So think about like we are adding a items in our shopping cart. That's what we want to add. So currently, this is a brand new. I want to add something. So increase. This is the one. Increase. I'm adding in the shopping cart, and I see something is very pricey, or it becoming it's shipping from China and becoming after 35 days, and I can't wait until then because I might die by then. So I decrease that one. So you are changing the items in your cart. Very, very simple way. All you need to do is to use the state, give some initial values. If you have initial values, something different, it could be start with there actually. So by default, value is like in the 0. And it gives you like two things. One is the state itself, another one some function to change the state. And your button could do those stuff. Like a button is like you have like a handle increase, pretty much similar way you did in HTML and JavaScript, plain JavaScript. Here you are just changing the name C uppercase. That's it. And since this is JSX, the dynamic name of the functions, you put like in the second bracket. And if you want, you can definitely, since this is inside second bracket, you can write any valid JavaScript. You can write the whole function here. But some people, some advanced guys are comfortable with it. As a beginner, it feels a little bit complicated for me, so I just leave this way. And the last thing for today we want to explore is loading data from internet. And if you remember previously, we loaded data from a JSON placeholder. And if you go to like a JSON placeholder, just or search for JSON placeholder, you will get to this website. And we used this before to load data. And eventually in our workshop series, we will get our own data and load those. But for now, we'll be using some other people's data. That means this is the way you are loading data for your application. And we can do it right here with a fresh look in any component. So right now I'm doing it like in this, previously I did the state change in the counter. Maybe I will load like another function to keep it cleaner. Function maybe users or display users. Display users, and then inside this display user, I will return some kind of like a div. And then this is my div. And initially, I have this h1 users, and right now there is no users or something like this. So my goal is to load data from internet, and I need to do actually few things. First thing I need to do is, if whenever I'm loading something from outside, it's called like an external thing. So this might have any side effect. And for that purpose, you need to call something called hook, and this is called use effect. Effect what came from like side effect. That means you're calling data from internet database, and if the database is down, you might have some side effect. Your application could be dead. So we call use effect. And if you have like an auto import, you can press tab or enter, and you'll see use effect is added here. And to use the use effect, you need to be a little bit careful. It needs to pass two parameters. Second parameter by default is an empty array. This telling that, okay, this side effect when I'm loading data doesn't rely on anything. And on the left side, you will create a function. And this could be an anonymous function or arrow function, exactly something like this. So you see, this is the arrow function you declared like this. This is same structure. And here inside it, you can actually do some fetching data like the one you did here. So you just call the fetch and then you do those stuff. So use effect is used to load data, and once the data is loaded, it's console log. And if you want, you can change the name to data, and this name could be data as well. So you save it. Now we go back to our application. Maybe get rid of this guy, and here we'll look into this. And if you do nice way, let me save it. If you save it, use effect, but we are not using the display users in our main app. Since we are not using that, users is not coming here, and this data is not loaded at all. So what we can do, we can call like display users. And if you do this, save it, you'll see users is here, and here you'll see like all the data for whatever the API is called here is loaded here. So now what we can do, we can go to like JSON placeholder, their website, and you see they have like a lot of other APIs. And these APIs for like, for example, they are loading like 10 users. If you click on this, you see there's so many data, and this is like every single user has a name, every single user has an email address, and maybe so many other stuff. They don't have like maybe a company and a lot of fun things. So we can call these APIs, and we come back here, and instead of this URL, we change this URL to the users URL. And if we save it, now come back to this guy, and you will see you have like 10 users. You see 10 users here, and here all you can do is to, once you have like a 10 users, now what it's doing here, it is loading data from internet. That means if it is successful for loading the data, the number of users you have will change. If it fails to load data, it will have 0 users. If it's successful, it have like 10, 15, 20. That means the number of users value is changing, and whatever could change is called a state. Like previously the shopping cart, if you add something, the value could change. It may or may not change. If you are successful, then it will change. Same thing exactly here. If you're successfully loading the data, then users number would change. So that's why you declare a state here. So we'll do constant something on the left side, and on the right side use state, and you get the use state. And think about what you are loading. You're loading a collection, an array, or a lot of users. That means what would be the default values when there is no users? It would be an empty collections. So your default value is empty array. And on the left side, you will have two things. One is the name of the state. Usually you can give like a user similar name. And the second one, a function to set the users. So this would be set users. Just whatever the name of the state, just put set in front of it. Like we did like count and set, make this uppercase set count, exactly the same thing. And once data is loaded, instead of console log, we'll call the set users. In that case, if data is successfully loaded, you will see all the users data is set to the state. And here you can see the number of users there. So dynamically you can say like a users dot length, because this is an array, and the array you can check how many elements there. So pay attention to this one. You save is initially 0 and then becomes 10. If you reload this guy, initially 0, for a fraction of a second, it becomes 10. And the reasons that initially when you are trying to load data, it takes few microseconds based on the power of the internet, and then it jumps into the number 10 or whatever the data is loaded. Since you have the 10 users, you can easily dynamically show those data exactly the same way you did here. So what we can do here, here we can do that dynamically users. So we can have, like in our case, we have users state dot map, and every single one would be user. And you can create a simple list item in yourself that, okay, I want to create a list item and show the user name. You can do that. So that would be say like an li. So if you create this li, and inside it, from each user, we have seen that user has a name. And if you save this guy, you see all the users' name is displayed here. And if you want to like show the list item with their email address, say like colon user dot email, and you see that the name and colon email address is displayed. Not only that, like the fun part is that you can use your previous component. Like here you use the person 68, and the previous the name of the props you're passing was actor, and you can pass that. So let's do that part here. So instead of creating the li here, what we'll do, instead of the li, we'll create this our person 68. And then for this person 68, we give a like an actor, because this component, if you look into this component, it accepts a props, and it's from the actor. So what you will do, we'll pass an actor. Here, the value would be dynamic, and the value would be, we don't have any actor here, we have user. So the value would be the user, but the name will be passing it as like an actor. Think about like any function parameter, right? Once you have the parameter, name could be something, and whatever the value we are providing, that value is used by that name. So if you do so, you'll see that this name is Leon Graham, Arvind Howell, and the last one is DBQ or whatever the name. So if this works, we will have like much more users after our all this. You see like this Leon Graham, the 10 users, this is the Arvind Howell, and all these users added. And since their data, if you look into the first one, their data doesn't have any job, right? So that's why you don't see any job here. But instead of job, you can use something else. Say, if I don't have any job, you can put like an or, and maybe a job or slash email, and you can display here that you want to show props dot actor, and then dot email. If doesn't have a job, then you want to show the email. So you put like a kind of like a null check. This question mark is like a null check. If this doesn't exist, then just don't show anything. So if you do so, and you see now their job or email address is displayed here right away. So you see, we are previously using this Sanju data or Ranveer data or Sallu65 is not coming from our users data. It's coming from our hard-coded data like we created here. So same component, you can use multiple different ways, multiple different sources of data, and you create all these HTMLs with just like 2-3 lines of JavaScript. That's the power of React. And that's what is the React makes things interesting. And in the next session, we'll be talking about how you can use routing and use multiple page applications and then do much more fun using React. So if I do a quick recap of the things we talked so far today, it's like we definitely started with the React applications. We use these few commands, which was like create React app. And then these 3 commands, we go to a particular directory, we created the applications, we change the directory, start the application. And after that, we started developing, we explored that how we can write JSX. Now, which JSX is nothing but writing HTML inside JavaScript. Then we use some dynamic style like this way. And then we add something called props. Props helps us to create something similar in look, different in data, like here. You see, like everybody is similar in look, but different in data. This one is like Kurtis or the Dennis or Chesley or Patricia. So these are different in data, and the same core concept is used in pretty much all modern applications, like you have seen in Amazon.com, maybe Adobe. And if you go pretty much any applications, any website, you will see like this type of things. And they create all this by using a component. And the component you created just this one. And another powerful thing is that you can use it as an HTML tag, and you can pass any kind of things needed as a props and accesses from there. And once we created this, and the next thing we use is to create an state. State is something that could change. Either user could change or data loading could change. Somehow the application, this could change. So that means the word I'm using is could. And the could is happens like if I click on this dude, if I increase, then this increase count. And if I don't click, it stays there. And if I decrease, it decreases. If I don't click, it stays there. So that means it could change. And if I come here and I don't touch it at all, then it stays there. So whatever the could change in, you use something called use state hook. And this is very simple way. You give an initial value of the state you want to checking. Since I'm clicking, if I don't click at all, the value should be 0 because I didn't click. And then it gives you 2 things, the name of the state and some function to set it. And exactly the same thing we used for users. Since we are loading a lot of users, that means we are loading an array. And what would be the default value of an array? That would be an empty array. And the state is the users and a function set users. And load data, you will use something called use effect. And this is how you will manage side effects. And inside the side effects, you can obviously use fetch. And once the data is loaded, then you just set the state. And that's how all the users is set to this variable users. And that's what we see for a fraction of seconds. Initially 0, and within a fraction of second, data is loaded. And then you see 10, whatever the data. And eventually, once your state is available, you can map through all the items there. It could be 1, 10, 100, or thousands, and you can call a component and pass dynamic data. And for every single items you have, it will create a component. So that's all from my side today. And definitely we have like a much more exciting, interesting, and much more realistic stuff in the next session. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there.